I'm bringing Sam Elliott in. Sam Elliott's
Yeah.
going to think you're a ladyboy for not
No, he's
drinking
not.
caffeine.
Hello, Sam.
Good morning.
How are you,
Welcome.
sir?
Have a seat.
Nice to be here.
How you doing?
My name's Sam as well, but it's Sam Roberts.
My pleasure.
Sit down. We're on. We're live.
I figured that.
So some people get confused when they come in. Yeah, see, I always think that. I always think that it's very clear that we're doing a show, because why else would I be talking into this and wearing these? But people come in
All the time.
and they're like, "What are we on the air right now?"
When are we starting, right?
Yeah.
They have no idea, and they start talking about things that they shouldn't talk about. Like, you know, little problems they're having, and we're not going to tell them. It's like it said on the air, so if you want to just, you know, spill your guts, feel free. It's fun to watch.
Yeah. So good morning.
Good morning to you.
Thank you.
How are you doing? This film is getting rave reviews about your
I'm
performance.
good. I'm a little fuzzy this morning, but
Why are you fuzzy?
Oh, I stayed out with the writers and the director last night, and
You guys party?
well, we had a nice meal and had a couple of drinks.
Couple cocktails?
We've been on this road for a long time.
And what time do you have to get up today?
And it wasn't bad. You know, I got up about 6. So.
Are you at a place in your career where you can say, hey, I want a later call time? Like, I won't go before whatever time?
No, I mean, I don't even think you, at least I don't anticipate ever reaching a point where I'm going to try to say I'm not going to show up until X time.
Are there guys that do that?
I suppose there are people that do that.
Their careers probably tend to be short-lived, because if they're not making a lot of money and they're making demands like that, I can't imagine anybody would put up with them.
I can't imagine anybody putting up with it today either. You know, I think maybe that happened back in the day, but I don't know.
Yeah, I just figure it's got to be.
Time is money.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess I just figure. So certain like guys who have been around for a long time, I think sometimes they don't want to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning anymore.
Yeah.
That's what I would do, but I'm not in a position to do that.
Man, I get up at the crack of dawn. I drive an hour, and I'm doing the show on Netflix, and I'm driving like an hour and a half one way just to get there every day, so 5 days a week. So
Why aren't you staying
I'm used
out
to
there?
getting up early. Pardon?
Why aren't you staying closer to where you're shooting?
Because I like to go home at night. To
Oh,
my
you do?
wife. Yeah.
You're one of those guys who likes to just be in your own bed.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I just like to be home. You know.
There's certain guys that would fly home after gigs too. I've heard of guys like that would do like they said Alan Alda when he was doing MASH every weekend would fly back from California just to be with his wife. He didn't want to be away from her.
Yeah, I get that.
You want like a
understand
semblance
that.
of normalcy.
That's why I've been married for 33 years.
You like being married?
Catherine and I have been together 39. We've been married 33 years, and I do like it.
And but you didn't. It's funny because you were both in Butch Cassidy, and you had like
Well, she was, but I was like a fly on the wall.
You didn't have a big part.
I was literally a shadow on the wall. I had one line, and it was off camera.
What was your line?
I'll take 2. It was in a card game.
Oh, okay.
Right in the beginning of the film.
Who was in the scene with you?
Redford was there, and Newman walked into it. Yeah.
That's kind of cool for you
and
first.
And a couple of other guys that I can't even remember who they were. You know, they were a couple of other flies on the wall.
Yeah.
What a cool first scene that is.
It is cool.
Yeah.
Were you annoyed that? Were you disappointed when you saw it and you realized, like,
No,
oh,
not at all. You know, I mean, I was a contract player at Fox. It's the only reason I'm listed on the credits is because I was under contract to the studio.
oh, okay.
Card player number 2. was
That's
my
great.
Name.
How did that work? So you were a contract player at Fox. Is that like you're just signed on to a certain number of movies, or whenever Fox just needs people in their
No,
movies?
they just sign you on, period, and they do what they want with you.
That's
you
it.
know? Yeah. I was paid $85 a week.
Wow.
And my rent that I was paying at the time was $85 a month. I lived right out the back gate of Fox, and probably the best period, or one of the best periods of the game, because I was finally making a living as an actor, you know.
Did you appreciate it back then when you finally start making your living, saying this is what I'm doing now, even if it's not a lot of money?
Of course. I mean, that's why I say it was one of the most exciting times for me. You know, I'd wanted to do this since I was a kid, and there I was, you know, show business. It's real now, you know. It was exciting.
Do you miss those days of because they don't really do the contract thing as
No,
much
that's over
anymore.
with. I was there the last 2 years of that program at Fox, and they had one other program that was a lot more substantial in that the people, the kids that were under contract, did work a lot there. They didn't work a lot at Fox, but the program at Universal continued on for a couple more years, but the Fox program was coming to a close.
Do you like that better because you know you're going to get a check, or do you like that now you're kind of, I don't know what the next job is going to be, but I'm going this, I'm going over here, I'm going over there.
I think the security of a steady job is always a great thing for an actor, but the uncertainty of it is also pleasing in some way.
Yeah.
How long was your contract be for? If you had a contract, like you're contracted by them, is it once a year, or do they keep you for 2 or 3?
It's a 7-year term contract.
Wow.
And options only on the studio side. They can turn you loose anytime they want.
Wow. So that was a very one-sided.
Yeah, absolutely.
One-sided deal.
The only thing that's similar to that now, though, is like all these superhero movies. Like now they are contracting the big stars to like 7, 8, 9, 10 movies because they just keep pumping them out, pumping them out, pumping them out.
No thanks.
Yeah, you're not interested in that
Not
at this
at
point.
all.
You wouldn't
Not
want to
at
be in
all.
a franchise though, like where you know you got 2 or 3 more great big gigs coming up.
I'm not going to say. I've learned to never say never, and but that doesn't really interest me. You know, after almost 49 years in this business, I can't imagine getting involved in franchises.
Fighting big lizards and robots and stuff.
I'd rather, it's about what's on the page to me.
Yeah.
And, I'm not saying I'm a serious actor, but it's really about what's on the page. It's not about making money. It's never been about making money for me. And it's really been about having a career.
Yeah, you said you never did things that you feel good, that you've never done things just for money. So you kind of like all the projects you've worked on.
Yeah, I do. Early on, there was a time where it was like, certainly in the beginning, right after I left Fox, and I was looking for work, money, and that was an issue, a part of it. But after that, I always figured if I was going to have longevity in my career, that I better be careful how I, quote unquote, expose myself.
It's interesting because in the hero in the movie, you play an actor who he's got one of his kind of come to Jesus with himself things where he admits that he's been making movies for 40 years or whatever, but he's only proud of one movie that he's ever made.
Yeah.
Does that happen a lot these days, or do you think?
I don't know. There's that about the show, and I always kind of wondered about, is that really possible that somebody was known for one film
and lasted for that
and been around that long?
Yeah.
But I suppose.
There's guys that have it's almost like they say, like Timothy Hutton did Ordinary People. And he wins the Oscar for it, and he beats Pesci in Raging Bull. And then like he's a great actor, but he hasn't done anything on that level since then. And they say it's almost a jinx if you win something a little too early.
There's a lot of people that have heard say that, and maybe it's true. Maybe it is, It
becomes the pinnacle, and it becomes kind of just nothing else seems to compare to it.
Measures up.
Well, that's what Lithgow was saying yesterday. John Lithgow was in here, and he was saying that like one of his worries when he did the series Third Rock was that he never wanted to do a series because for a character actor that can be like the kiss of death because now you're tightly into that spot, like that is your role for forever.
Yeah,
which is never where you want to be.
Yeah,
you must have been excited when this project, The Hero, came across your doorstep because you're in every scene of this movie. This is your movie.
Yeah. You're going to get real sick of me if you watch this. I worked with Brett Haley on another film 2 years ago called I'll See You in My Dreams. Brett's the one that directed the film and wrote and edited. He wrote with his writing partner, Mark Bash. They're both Brooklyn boys. I worked with him on this other film, and during the course of marketing the film, Brett and I traveled together and got to know each other really well. And have a lot of regard for each other. And as a gift to me, for whatever reason, he sat down with Bash and wrote this script. And it's like you said, I'm on every page of it.
But he wrote it with you in mind.
He wrote it for me.
That's amazing.
I've had parts written for me over the years, but I've never had an entire screenplay written for me. Pretty incredible.
Have you ever looked at a part that was written for you, like in the years past, and it was written for you, but you look at it, and you're like, ugh, I can't do that.
No.
No.
I think most of the parts that were for sure written for me, that I knew were written for me, I fully embraced them. I did a thing called The Big Lebowski a few years back, and the Coen brothers wrote my part for
Yeah.
me. My name was in the script, so I didn't look at that and think, I don't want to do this.
Well, yeah, not that one. No, that was a good one.
Can it be tough for you? Like, you've worked with so many great directors, you know what I mean? You've done so much stuff, and like the director on The Hero, like the Coen brothers, like you've worked with a lot of great people. Does it get tough when you get to a set and you realize the director is not up to snuff as compared to, you know what I mean, some of the other
I
people?
think that's every actor's nightmare.
It is.
At least it's mine. I like to think that I go in with something in mind, but it's always nice to have a director that has something in mind there.
So is that what
I always felt like I worked for the director. That's my game.
So that's what gives you pause when you get there, is that if the director doesn't have a vision behind what's going on,
Exactly.
then you're like, what are we
doing
doing here?
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
That's like a real almost lack of ego, like saying like I work like I want to serve the director, I want to serve what's on the page. That's a pretty humble attitude to have about what you're doing.
I just think that's the way it ought to be. I mean, I look at myself as one of the crew. I always likened it to being on a sailing ship and the guy standing helm's the director, and I'm pulling the sheets, pulling the lines.
You also
you go the other way, and I know a lot of other people that go the other way, but that's just not my game.
have you seen people mistreat directors and because you hear these?
I've seen people mistreat everybody on the set.
You have, right?
Yeah.
And is it uncomfortable to watch
It's
it?
a pain in the ass.
It is.
Do you pull people aside at this point and be like, what the fuck are you doing, dude?
I've said that to a couple of people
Good for you.
through the course.
How do they respond to it? Were they
Some of them walk away in a huff, and some of them would embrace it and get it.
Sam Elliott has a presence. It's the voice. It's just the you-ness of you.
The Eunice.
That if you, I feel like if you were to grab, especially a young actor, and was like, what the fuck are you doing here? That it would
usually
probably
a young
get through.
one. It's usually a young one.
Is it really?
Yeah.
They haven't been through enough where they just.
Yeah.
What are they doing? They're being like they're coming late, or they're
late or sitting in their trailer or that kind of stuff, or just attitude. It's really mostly attitude.
Well, they haven't gone through enough to be humbled, I think, properly. Like they're the ones who would walk in with that ego, right?
Yeah, I think it's entitlement or something like that, or lack of.
Do you think, when you look back, because people talk about that like generationally, about millennials or whatever, but when you look back at yourself as a young actor, do you think you had some of that in you, that it had to get knocked out of you?
No.
You think you started with the right head on your shoulders?
I think I was raised right, and then when I got to L.A., I was ready to do it.
Right. Right.
I mean, my dad wouldn't have put up with that shit. And, I don't know.
You also talked, Sam, at one point about like you thought you almost screwed yourself because you're opinionated and you kind of speak your mind.
Honest, opinionated, and not very smart, I think is what I said. That's a bad combination.
Yeah, it certainly is. But is it something that you've just embraced about yourself, or do you kind of go like, okay, I have to learn how to not say this at this time?
I still, I don't know. I think I'm more mindful of it today. But, what the fuck? It is what it is. You say what you say, and sometimes you regret it. But, I like being honest and opinionated.
What was it that almost got you in trouble? Or that?
It was in regard to a film called Lifeguard that I did in 1974, and it was in regard to the way they marketed the film. They sold it like beach blanket bingo, and, the one sheet was an animated one sheet with me in a pair of Speedos with a big busted girl on either arm, and it said "Every Girl's Summer Dream" over it, and it was like, wow. It was really something that was a little more serious to those of us that were making the film, meaning the writer, the director, and myself, and the producer as well. But when Paramount sent me out on the road to market the film, I spent like 6 weeks on the road, and, invariably I'd go into towns and get into these interviews with reviewers and, people that were touting the film. And they'd open up, they'd seen the film, and they'd had the marketing package, they'd looked it up. And they'd open up these interviews invariably with, "This movie isn't anything like I expected it to be." And that just opened it up for me, and I said, "Yeah, no shit." And then go off on the advertising campaign. I didn't work for Paramount for 25 years after that.
Oh, wow, that was
Wow.
furious. But I'm
Yeah,
surprised they didn't.
not that I was blacklisted or anything, and maybe it was just the way it was. But who knows?
You paid for it, though.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
But on some level, it's a good thing. You mentioned Timothy, Hutton, and not that I would have won an Academy Award. I'm not saying that, but if career would have come then in '74, I'd just assume it's happening the way it's happening now rather than back then.
Yeah, I mean, like the trajectory
Yeah.
of the whole thing, that you would imagine that if you had hit your super successful point then,
Yeah.
how do you maintain that?
Yeah, I
throughout all
don't think
these
you
years?
maintain it, and I don't think probably as a young actor, whether you're male or female, it's that's a lot to reckon with. I think that kind of.
What's the toughest part? Is it new money? Is it fame? Is it attention? Is it just the workload?
The toughest part to deal with?
Yeah. Like what do you think, screws people off course eventually?
Well, I don't know. I think when you hear all the time how wonderful you are, that it's not a good thing.
Right.
It's
starts
very,
giving you a
very
big
nice.
head.
We've never been in that position.
Yeah. We should be doing just
Yeah,
fine, Jim.
and it's also bullshit, and some people are, I don't know, it all depends on who you're talking about, I guess, but there's a lot of lip service probably along the way that people say things they don't mean, if you can imagine that.
Yeah, and then all these people that were complimenting you, when the money starts to dry up, all the compliments go away, and that
Yeah.
crazy high you were just on becomes this.
It's a heady deal. It's like
Yeah.
a heady deal, It's like, I'm in the middle of this press tour, and, I've got people traveling with me that coddle you along the way and take care of you. I love them for that. But, you go into these situations, you don't know anybody, and everybody knows who you are, either because of, they literally know who you are because they've followed your career, or they've just read a bio on you and a bio on the film and pretend they know who you are. But, it's that recognition thing I think is the hardest thing for an actor, at least for me to deal with.
And I guess you can't figure out what's real, right?
Yeah.
Like what's a real connection and
Yeah.
what's somebody just like trying to get close to success.
Yeah. Success is a weird thing. There's a theory in the film about this movie was called Iceberg when it was in treatment form when it first came to me, and which is a title I really loved, and will always be sorry that they changed it on some level. But the theory is that success is like an iceberg, and it's that eighth of it, or however whatever percentage of an iceberg is above the
Right.
the level of the sea, and that's what you see, but the real shit is underneath,
Right.
and that's the stuff that holds up the part you see. It's an interesting theory.
And
Well,
I guess no, go ahead.
Do you have people around you who are able to tell you when you're wrong? Like, a lot of people don't have anybody in their life who will just at times go, "Shut your face." Like,
Yeah.
we really need that.
Yeah, no, I definitely have people in my life that do that. My wife comes to mind first.
She's comfortable saying that.
Yeah, she just, when I left town and came back here, she says, just keep everything in perspective.
Yeah.
And that's really the truth. That's about as good advice as you can get.
It seems like in the movie that's your character kind of hits that spot when he's on drugs, but when he's accepting the Lifetime Achievement Award from the Little Western Society.
Yeah.
And he's kind of looking at the award, and then he's looking out, and he's like, everybody's worked all their lives.
I think he's really uncomfortable with that recognition, and I'm not sure. I think this script is so well written in terms of what's real for me. That that speech that he gives when he gets that Lifetime Achievement Award,
Mm-hmm.
and whatever he says it's really right. It's really right. He's not sure that he's any more deserving of it than anyone else.
Right.
Right. Which is a healthy perspective, I think, to have.
Yeah, it's a weird thing because you think about all these opportunities that I got. If somebody else had gotten the same opportunities, they probably would have also been able to succeed at it. So why am I up here getting a trophy for it?
Yeah. There's so many people in the movie business that are so much more talented than I that'll never get a shot.
Yeah.
You know? I mean, the elusiveness of the whole game, and the uncertainty is, and more so today. With this fascination of celebrity. That's I mean, there's always been quote unquote celebrities, but this fascination with it in our society today and in the world today maybe is just. I mean, I don't know. We're really trying to really reckon with that as a country right now, aren't we?
Yeah. Well, you guys hit that too, celebrity culture, when TMZ starts to get involved in the paparazzi. Because I mean, better than most people how much the paparazzi game has changed.
Yep.
In the last over the course of decades.
Yeah, it's weird. It's weird. It's like these guys that are around and gals. There's a few of them around town that are dogging us on this tour, and they've got a stack of photos with them, and some of them it's like genuinely they may be a fan or something, but it's like they're not looking to stick them in a book or put them on their wall. They're gonna put them into the marketplace, and it's like, really.
Yeah, when you're signing 8 photos for them, you're like, I don't think this is for your collection.
It's a stock photo, and they have the marker ready, and it's not like to anybody.
Right? Yeah. Who you want me to make this out to? Oh, no. Just sign it.
There was a scene in the film that Brett ended up cutting out. Brett Haley also edits. He writes, edits, and directs. And there was a scene in the film in which some fan came and knocked on his window when Lee was sitting in there. He lit up a joint, and this guy, it was right after the diagnosis in the top of the film. And this guy knocks on the phone, and he praises him and tells him how wonderful he is, and asks him to sign this photo. And Lee doesn't really want to deal with him, but the guy says, please, man, you're the best, you're the fucking coolest. And so he signs it, and then the guy pulls out another one and asks him to sign it. And Lee says he's not going to sign it, and the guy goes off on him. You asshole! I hope you die. It's like it's.
And then he gets to go on the internet, right?
Yeah, right.
And let the world know.
Yeah.
It's a big business now. I mean, it's
huge.
like
it's huge. It's that fascination with celebrity I was talking about, and it's like, what, really?
You don't have any fascination with it. I guess you're tired of it.
No, I do. I mean, I have a fascination with people. And I'm doing this thing called A Star Is Born right now. And, when I first went and met Bradley Cooper, who was, a much younger man than I am, and a much more dynamic man than I am, and most impressive up close, I was like, wow. This guy is like amazing. And then getting to the set and being around Stephanie, Lady Gaga, Stephanie,
sure.
It's like a little unsettling because all I knew about her was Lady Gaga,
How was she on set? Because she's
incredible. She's unbelievable.
Is that right?
She's a wonderful woman, and she's an incredible actress. And, you're either a Gaga fan or you're not, and I'm a huge Gaga fan.
As we are.
Yeah.
She's unbelievable.
Were you a fan going in, or was that one of those things like I'm not sure, the work ethic?
No, going in. This girl and Bradley both, that's one of the reasons that I love both of them dearly, is they've got this incredible work ethic. It's just, those are the people who deserve to be on top.
So you're excited about A Star Is Born?
I think it's going to be good.
And also,
it's going to be real good.
Yeah.
Do you know when you go into these situations, like as much as you're like, wow, this Bradley Cooper's amazing and she's amazing, they look at you, and then they're very well aware of your work too. I mean, they've probably been watching you for a long time. Do you feel that coming back from them, or are you removed from that?
No, I feel it.
Is that?
It's like a mutual respect thing, I mean, but that's part of their greatness,
That they'll give it back.
They're good people.
Right. Do you stay close to people after a film wraps because it becomes like a little family?
Not necessarily.
Just fade
it's
away.
like a band of fucking gypsies, man.
It is, right?
Yeah, it's really weird.
And you think you're going
Cher.
to?
I've never seen Cher once.
Wow.
Since Mask. That was a long time
Wow.
ago.
What was that, 83, 84?
That was a long time ago. Yeah, somewhere back there.
Did you guys have did you get along when you were making it? Like you were great friends when you were making it?
Yeah.
And then once it's over, it's just you go on with your lives.
You've got lives that take you away. Everybody on the outside of that world thinks that we're all like in tight with each other. you know, and it's just not the case. It's just the nature of the beast.
I feel like I fight so hard. I'd be like, oh, I can be Cher's friend now.
Yeah, go to see her shows.
I know. I'm going to try to go see her. Actually, she's going to be in Vegas this fall, and I'm going to make every effort to go see her in November.
Yeah, that's a long time to not have seen. How about Eric Stoltz? Did you stay with him or talk to him?
I've seen Eric a couple of times over the years, but rarely.
Did you stay in touch?
Watched him from afar.
Oh, sorry. Did you stay in touch with Patrick Swayze after you guys?
Not a lot.
No.
Ran into him, you know, but you know, it's just that you have different circles and different circles of friends. Catherine and I live out in Malibu. We've been out there for 40 years, and you know, it's a hell of a long way out of Hollywood. You know, there's people in that community out there we hear that are in the movie business, but don't hang with them.
You know,
we
just
don't
you don't really have any actor friends?
I've got a couple.
Yeah.
Nick Offerman's a dear friend.
Oh, is he?
You know, but you know,
He's great in the movie.
he's incredible in everything he does. He's just the best guy.
You like being grounded and just hanging with real people sometimes,
Yeah.
or people out of the
Yeah,
business.
and I think it's important. I think it's important to have a life outside of the game. You know, like I said before, it's a heady. You know, I mean, we all think we're so fucking wonderful in the movie business. Man. I mean, you know,
Do you go to like the award shows, the Oscars, and stuff like that?
I've been once.
What year
I
did
used
you go
to
to the
go to
Oscars?
the Golden Globes a lot back when I first got into the business. I used to go to a lot more of those award shows. I've been to the Emmys a couple of times and been to the Golden Globes a number of times. Been to the Oscars once.
Do you remember what year it was?
No.
Did you not want to go back, or did nothing for you, or was it too overwhelming?
Yeah, it's like a party that if you're not invited to be there, then you're going to see it better on the tube at home. you know?
Yeah.
I mean,
Makes
it's incredible to be there with that crowd. There's no question about it. But again, this whole fascination with the celebrity thing is kind of really the red carpet. Ugh.
Do you like doing that when you have a film that you're in?
Absolutely.
Oh, you do like doing
Yeah,
it.
of course, because then you got a reason to be there.
You don't like just showing up and putting your face there going, "Hi, it's me," if there's no reason.
No.
Yeah.
No, I don't.
I get that. We had Laura Prepon in here yesterday,
Yeah.
and she was talking
Lucky
about
you, buddy.
yeah.
Well, you got to kiss her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She just killed me.
She was talking about the chemistry that you guys had,
Yeah.
kind of instantly. Were you worried at all about that? Because when you're making this movie, and you know, this age difference is there. If the chemistry isn't there, it screws up the story, right?
Yeah, but I never once was worried about it. One of the things that was great about this thing is that when we started out and went out to the different actors, it was like there was no list of actors for any part. They were all first choices, including Laura. And, you know, I mean, I didn't know Laura. I'd never crossed paths with she or Kristen. I knew my wife and I knew Offerman.
Mm-hmm.
But I met Laura. Well, a little more backstory. I never was a fan of the 70s show. But if I was swimming around on the TV back in those days and I saw that redhead, I was always intrigued by her. I thought she had a brain amongst all these kind of mindless characters. Nothing personal about any of them.
Sure.
You know, in
Sitcom
terms
is
of
a
the
sitcom, though, yeah.
right. But Laura always fascinated me, and then I started watching Orange is the New Black and seeing her work there. And I don't know, about a week, 2 weeks before we started on The Hero, she showed up on the set of The Ranch to see Ashton and Daniel. And that was my first encounter with her. And I just told her right then, I said, man, we're going to fucking make some fireworks on this thing. Because I just knew that we were going to.
Yeah.
And that first scene where she walked into that scene where Offerman and I are smoking dope.
Yeah.
She just stopped it cold, man. I mean, that first moment she's got, and she says, hi. You know, it's like, wow.
It does work. It really works.
And it took me the rest of the film to get over it.
What a fun job you have.
Yeah, do you end up falling in love with these people? Because
on some level, you fall in love with. It doesn't matter if it's a male, female, and it's just. I don't know. The exchange that goes on.
Yeah.
Is so personal sometimes that it's just you can't help but be attracted or maybe repelled by whoever it is, you know. But with Laura, it was like
How do
I
you
was smitten early on.
how do you break that?
Yeah,
At
that's
the
what
end,
I
like,
wonder because I'm a married guy too, and like
In the end, it's it's go home. It's one of the reasons I like to go home.
to separate the
just-
fantasy world.
Yeah, I mean, it's acting's acting. It's not me up there. It's that's what I do. It's not who I am.
Does it ever linger though? Like the feelings for a person, whatever it is, like after you're done shooting, is it ever like fuck them?
Sometimes, I mean, it's hard to, the separation period might be a little longer.
That'd be so tough for
You
me.
gotta get over it.
You got to get over it.
Yeah.
Does it-
And
does
look at Laura and Ben now. Man, they're having a kid, and I mean, she's 8 months pregnant, and even more beautiful than she was when she was working on the film. And
We both said the same thing. She looks amazing pregnant.
she's unbelievable.
Yeah.
And we have to wrap with you. They're telling us. So let's just. The Hero is in theaters today. Everyone is saying this is an amazing performance by you,
thank you.
and a good
Thank
movie.
you. Yeah,
Amazing
it
performance by everybody.
Opens today at the Angelica and the United Artists at Lincoln Center.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm not sure it's United Artists.
But it's the theater
Some
there at
theater,
Lincoln
yeah.
Center.
And
yeah.
Brett Haley, the director, and I are going to both be doing Q&As today. So
Oh, you are.
That's awesome.
Oh, cool.
yeah, it's going to be fun.
So if you're in New York, go see it at Lincoln Center. And if you're
Or
not
the
in
Angelica.
Yeah, or if it's not, look it up, Google it. It's called The Hero, Sam Elliott. And if it doesn't end up playing in a town near you, get it digitally. I'm sure it'll come out soon.
Open up the newspaper. There's a big ad for today's paper.
There it is.
Yeah.
Find it. It's worth finding, and it's a film that Sam Elliott is proud of, so it's got to be good.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it very much. Thank you, Sam.
Thank you.
Thank you, buddy.
Thanks. Pleasure to be
man.
with you guys.
Yes.
We'll be right back.
Thank you.